Hey everyone, Brendan Snyder here. How are you? Thanks so much for joining me and welcome to today's topic. I own 13,000 CDs, but can I listen to them all? All right, so I get asked this question all the time. It's just something that regularly pops up from different people. There's usually two types of people that will ask this question. First off, trolls. We all know them. They don't understand the beauty of the music collection and they're just going to hammer me for it. And then there's the collector. Those people get it, but at the same time, they might have a fraction of the total amount of CDs that I have and genuinely want to know whether or not I can listen to all of these. So I'm going to explain, first of all, why I have 13,000 CDs, do some math to help determine whether or not I actually can listen to them all, talk about how it is that I listen to my music each day, and clear whether or not with 13,000 CDs, I'd be considered a hoarder or not. So we'll get into all that in just a bit, and we'll do it with a little bit of a tongue in cheek just to have some fun with it. But before we do, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things do help support my channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. And of course, if you turn on notifications, you'll never miss an episode and stay up to date on cool topics like today's, where I own 13,000 CDs, but trying to determine if I can actually listen to them all. So a little bit of history real quick, catching people up that might be new to the channel. I started collecting in 1989, so 36 years ago. I now have over 13,000 CDs, about 13,200 give or take, which averages about 360 CDs purchased per year. Now, obviously, that didn't start out that way when I was very young in 1989. I was only buying a few here or there, wasn't buying to the level that I am today, but I obviously have a much better job and income and can afford to do it. Every CD I have in my collection is something that I specifically want. There is nothing in the collection that I don't want. Right? So I haven't done any kind of blind buys. I haven't just accepted things that I don't want. These are all CDs, all albums that I searched out and purchased for a specific reason. And it just happens to be that it has now amassed 13,000 CDs. It's not that I ever set out to collect this big of a collection. So this is just something that is because I am a collector, I am a lover of music, and going down that road of searching out my favorite bands and artists and getting that sort of stuff, that I have simply hit the 13,000 CD mark that I'm at. So let's do a little bit of math on this. All right, let's start with some listening math, right? I have 13,000 CDs, and if you go with the idea that there's 45 minutes of music generally on average, because some albums are a lot shorter at 30 minutes and some are longer at an hour. So if we say 45 minutes of music and you multiply that by the 13,000, you get 585,000 minutes of music. All right, but we got to divide that by 60 minutes. Let's get that down to hours so that we can really wrap our heads around the number. So 9,750 hours of music is in the 13,000 CD collection. All right, now certainly realizing that I got to sleep 8 hours a day, and instead of dividing by 24 hours in the day to get that number down to how long this would be, I'm going to divide by 16 hours of listening time, and I would get 609 days that I would need to listen to it. And if I divide by 365 days in a year, I get 1.6 years. So is it possible to listen to all 13,000 CDs in my lifetime? Yes, absolutely, without a doubt. Not an issue. Totally can do it. All right, but let's be realistic, right? Because I'm not going to spend 16 hours all day long listening to it every single day. Even if I might want to, I really couldn't do that. So let's break it down. How it is that I actually listen to the music itself, come up with a real daily listening amount, and then see if it's possible to listen to all 13,000 CDs. So some daily listening math, right? So let's just talk about how it is that I listen to music. First of all, I like to get up at 5 a.m. and I spend 2 hours listening to music. before I leave to go to work. So I leave at about 7:15. I get up around 5 and I enjoy 2 hours of listening time. Yes, some of that is me getting ready and doing things, and some of it is me just sitting there really enjoying it. And to do that, I've got an NAD C538 CD player along with an NAD C31 6B EE stereo integrated amp and fine audio speakers. So that's the setup that I use to listen to and enjoy when I'm at home. Okay, but I'm not always at home. And so even though I get those 2 hours there in the morning, I listen to music while I commute to the office. I have to drive to the train station and then I spend time on the train, and it adds up to a good solid hour of commute time when we're talking about going door to door. And when I'm doing that, I'm using these. I'm using my Bose Quiet Comfort audio headphones, noise canceling headphones. You guys probably have seen me oftentimes with them around my neck like that when I'm doing videos, especially with Anthony at Sound Exchange in Wayne, New Jersey. But I have those headphones that I can wirelessly stream music through, and I like to do that on my commute. And then let's say I throw in and listen to at least 1 hour a day during my office hours while I'm at work. I'm an architect, so I can sit at my desk, I'm working on drawings, I'm answering emails, I'm doing whatever. And if I want, I can also listen to some music. Then I have a commute home, another hour of time going home. And then I like to listen to music at least at some point while I'm home after dinner. It might be multiple hours and I choose not to watch any TV or do any of that sort of stuff. Or it might only be like 1 hour as I'm unwinding and I'm going to bed. So I'm going to say it's just 1 hour when I get home. And if you add all of that up, the 2 hours in the morning, the 1 hour commute, the 1 hour at the office, the 1 hour commute back home, and another 1 hour before I go to bed, that's 6 hours of time. And it sounds like a lot, but believe it or not, that is actually not a lot of time spent listening to music. Certainly if you are a music nut like I am, and I think a lot of you guys out there are as well, if you really sat down to figure out how much time in the day you spend listening to music, you might actually be shocked with how many hours it is. So now taking that into account, let's do new listening math. All right, again, 13,000 CDs, averaging 45 minutes of music. So we're going to start off with the 585,000 minutes worth of music that we divide by 60 minutes to get it into hours. So we end up with the 9,750 hours of music in the collection. And realizing that I'm only going to listen 6 hours a day, not the way I started off when I said there was 16 hours, right? So I'm going to divide by 6 and I end up with 1,625 days that it would take for me to listen to all of the collection. But if we divide by 365 days in a year, we can get it into 4.45 years. So 4.5 years it would take me to listen to all the albums. If I started at the beginning and I listened for those 6 hours a day, I could actually do it in a relatively short amount of time. 5 years is not all that long, give or take, to listen to this. And I don't even feel like that amount of time would feel forced if I was actually to sit down and do that. But do I really want to listen to 13,000 CDs like that? No. All right, so let's clarify that aspect of things. The whole point to me owning 13,000 CDs is to create a music library. It's not about being able to listen to A through Z every year and get it done. A lot of people say, oh, but you can never listen to those all the time, so why even own them? It's more about having a music library so that no matter what I want to listen to or what I'm thinking about or what offshoot project or solo album by my favorite artist, I can go out to the collection, these shelves here, and I can grab it and I can listen to it. And that is a great feeling, honestly, that's never about having to track things down, order something and wait for it to arrive. And however else it is you might go about getting your music, looking it up to stream and it's not available, I always have it in the collection. And of course, that doesn't mean that I own everything. There's always more for me to find. There's always more stuff that I'm tracking down. But in the collection from the artists that I've already got, I have that, at my fingertips. Whatever my mood is, I can go out, I can grab something, and I can easily listen to it. That is the reason for owning a 13,000 CD music collection, a library, as I like to think of it. Um, and, keep in mind, though, that in listening to all of these CDs within the collection, or to having all these CDs in the collection, I have, in fact, listened to every single one of these. So when I get an album, it doesn't go out onto these shelves until I've actually listened to it. And I never put anything away with only one listen on it. I have a setup by my stereo where I always keep out the latest and greatest and new things that I've purchased, and I give them multiple listens and try them out. Even if something didn't click with me upon first listen, it's going to get multiple listens before I decide to file it away. So all the CDs, every album in the collection has been listened to. Every CD, every box set, everything that's out here has been opened and listened to. There isn't stuff in the collection that I just have sealed up that I don't listen to. Nothing like that, at least for me, in my collection. It is a living, breathing, usable, growing music collection that I like to build on and enjoy, meaning to use, right? All right, so let's dispel some rumors now. What is a hoarder? Because I get that question probably as much as I get or comment, and again, from trolls like, oh, you're just a hoarder owning 13,000 CDs. All right, but a hoarder is someone that acquires an excessive number of something and stores them in an erratic or chaotic manner. Okay, so some might consider 13,000 CDs to be an excessive number. I can understand that part of things. But I would say that if you think about the CD collection the way that I do as a music library, nobody looks at somebody who has a library of books as a hoarder, right? So if you don't think of having thousands of books in bookcases on a wall for informational purposes to be able to pull from, why then somebody owning this much music, which I think of as informational, should that person be considered a hoarder? So just thinking about that to start things. But if a hoarder keeps their stuff, their multiple things, in a chaotic manner, collectors do not. Collectors keep their things organized, cataloged, clean, without chaos, no clutter, right? That is the difference between a collector and a hoarder. And so my library, what you're seeing behind me here, and I've got other racks and stacks of CDs and things that go beyond what you're seeing right here, and I keep those organized. And first and foremost, these shelves here, I'm an architect, as I mentioned at the top of this, and I designed these and I had them built for me. So I actually am more integrated into this than just simply buying stuff and stacking it up somewhere. Like, I designed this out in order to hold these. I calculated and figured it all out. And so I'm organized. These are sorted by genres. They're also alphabetized. They're easily accessible. Pull these things right off the shelf. And of course, there's no chaos and clutter within any of this here. So I don't believe just because I have a quote excessive amount of CDs by the average individual that would make me a hoarder. So no, I don't think that I'm a hoarder, and people will continue to say that, and that's fine. Most people are ignorant about what it is. They don't even take the time to understand what a hoarder actually is. They just like to throw that word around because they want to try to insult you. And, us collectors, we have to look past that. But I wanted to clarify that and just throw that out there. And then bottom line, so why I own a 13,000 CD music collection is so that, I have this library. I am a collector. I am not a hoarder. And I do think that I can actually listen to all 13,000 of these CDs. It would only take 4.5 years, not that long. But if we think about this over the course of my life, I am 48, so I'm not even 50 yet. And hopefully I have another 30 plus years, if not even longer, That is a lot of time to be able to listen to these throughout the course of my life, enjoying them and not having to force a 4.5 year listening excursion to hit on every CD that I have in the collection. And so there you go. I'm still able to hold down a job, have a social life, listen to music, and can do everything else that anyone else can, and still own 13,000 CDs. So there you go. Hopefully you enjoyed this fun little tongue-in-cheek episode breaking down why I've got them and whether I can listen to them. And so if you or someone out there has a huge music collection, show this video to that family member or person who can't understand why it is you have it. Maybe they will understand it a little bit better, just like we now do. All right, everyone, take care, have a good one, and I'll talk to you real soon.